having our own compound to train at, it requires a lot of maintenance, which is hard labor. You know what I'm saying? So, for me, when I'm out there and I'm working and I'm making sure that the landings are prepped 100% and everything's, nice and perfect, when I get to ride that setup and that setup feels amazing, it's like a reward in itself. And then, you end up, because you feel good, you end up riding better. So, nothing like hard work pays off. I'm sure you understand that.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? We are back yet again with another episode of Beyond the Game with yours truly, okay, CJ. Guys, before we do anything, you guys know the house rules, okay? Please make sure to go and like, share, and subscribe to the channel, okay? A big shout out to Temple Luxury Restaurant for hosting us, all right? Because, we are in the building of Temple, guys. So if we ever get to come to Temple Luxury Restaurant in Joburg, please pull up. Guys, today I'm doing things very different yet again. It's a different sporting code, something that I don't think most of us are used to, all right? And I have a legend in the building as well, This time around, we're taking it freestyling. You know what I mean? We're taking it motocross. Do you guys anything know about that? You guys don't know anything about that, okay? But I've got someone here to tell us all about that. My brother, Dallan Goldman, how are you?
Like, how are you, my boy?
Nah, I'm chilling, my brother. Listen, man, this is something different here today. Like, we have big helmets here from Monster as well, We have a nice trophy, okay? Look at that. This thing is very heavy. This thing is very... Tell me about this. What is this?
Yeah, so that's a King of the Whip first place trophy.
Okay.
I got that in 2018. I think it was my second time riding that event. And Ryan from LW Mag has done an amazing job on making a continuous event for us freestyle motocross riders. But not only that, he gets motocross and riders as well in the competition. So it's a bit of a mix of local riders, and it's grown so heavily over the last few years that he's got X Games world champions coming to South Africa to compete in King of the Whip. So yeah, man, it's been an honor to ride that event. I've managed to get podium every single year that I've competed, even against some of the best riders in the world. So I'm out here repping South Africa as hard as I can and trying to make everyone proud.
Now tell me, bro, this is one of those sports that, some of us are very unfamiliar with, because in South Africa there's quite a lot of sports, what I mean? There's like rugby, soccer, water polo, cricket, for someone like me, what is motocross? Just explain to someone that's doesn't know really pretty much anything about it.
So motocross itself is when you actually end up racing dirt bikes around a track, and obviously you want to get the best time as possible. But myself, on the freestyle motocross side of things, it's a big expression session pretty much for us. So we end up doing a lot of tricks where you're letting go of the bike, floating, catching the back of the motorcycle, bringing yourself back on, doing backflips, and all the tricks. And we end up traveling around, South Africa, up into Africa, and sometimes all over the world, performing at different shows, events, and competitions. And a big factor for us is, the bigger the crowd goes, the bigger we go. So, we feed off that adrenaline.
And tell me, let me just go into you a little bit, who you are and what makes you tick, and just take me through, where you come from and how you grew up. And obviously, should I get to how you actually found the sport?
So, born and bred, I'm a 4As boy.
Okay.
So 4As Johannesburg, let's go represent. I grew up watching my dad ride motorcycles, and I would watch, Krusty Demons and Nitro Circus and a couple of the other shows over from America's side, and it just inspired me, and I remember as a youngster, 3-4 years old, watching my dad wheel his dirt bike up the road, and I was like, man, I want to do that. I was inspired. So, I got my first bike on my 4th birthday. Started cruising around on that a little bit. Did some out riding and free riding with my dad and some of his friends back in the day. And as I got older, I started racing a little bit of motocross. And then I think I was just about to turn 15 years old. I was racing that weekend, and the track that we were racing at was closed. So my dad kind of surprised me. He took me to a freestyle motocross compound, and I hit a steel ramp for the first time. And I was like, oh, this is something I've always wanted to do, like staring at this ramp for the first time. I'm like, cool, I'm going to do this. And I jumped, it was probably like a small 10-meter gap for my first time. And by the end of the day, I was jumping 17 meters. And back then, the pro gap was like 21 and a half, 22. So I wasn't that far off. Within the first month of me riding freestyle, I was on the pro gap and already doing some of the basic tricks. And I was just like, oh, this is it for me, When I raced growing up, all I really wanted to do is hit the big jumps and like style it. So I just found my niche, I feel like, and ever since then I've just been pushing, and I've been able to elevate myself in the sport here in South Africa and get a bit of a name recognized for me internationally too.
So tell me, like, with this kind of sport, is it like sort of like something that is sort of like closed up? You sort of like have to like know for you to know it, or is it something that's very out there, popular like that?
So I mean, on an international scale, it's pretty popular, but here in South Africa, it's quite small. We don't have the amounts of athletes that we would like doing the sport. A lot of guys look in, from the motocross or the enduro section, and they kind of look in at our sport, and they're like, oh, they don't want to jump that gap, So it's, for a lot of guys, it's quite scary. But, even for me at first. But once I actually jumped, I realized it's not that hectic. And I started moving back. I just found the enjoyment. And, a lot of guys are like, oh, how do you get into it? And, So we actually, over the years, have hosted open days. We invite all the riders in.
Okay.
We say, hey, come, we'll train you guys for free on the day. Let's get you to jump a ramp for the first time.
Okay.
And it progressed for a while. We ended up hosting a lot of open days throughout the years. But, one of my compounds shut down back in 2012. And we haven't had pretty much open day in the last decade. So now we've got a new spot at Terratopia, located at Northern Farms. We have the Jungle Rush FMX compound there. And we're hosting an open day on the 20th of September. We're inviting all the riders from all the spectrums. Hey, come. We want to teach you guys. We want to teach you throttle control. We want to teach you how to jump. And then from there, we've built a whole new section to teach these boys how to jump with no gaps, so that we can pull them over to the freestyle side and they can actually jump a gap for the first time. So, all we're trying to do from our side is like kind of push, elevate the sport, and get more recognition for the riders, and make it a safe environment for everybody to learn and just have a good time. At the end of the day, it's all about having fun and enjoying yourself.
That's pretty much powerful, bro. So you said, like, obviously you find in the sport, your dad was a big influence on you.
Definitely.
And with him, did he also really, go professional as you on this, or was it just?
So, growing up, he was just more of a fun rider, hitting the tracks, taking me to the races and stuff. But freestyle motocross is something he always wanted to do. It was like a passion of his, but he never had the opportunities like I did growing up. So I guess when he saw that there was opportunity and I was getting to the age, he kind of pushed me in that direction, and everything just fell into place. So he never made it to a professional level like I did, but for me, being able to get to that level, it's definitely made him proud.
No, that's really cool. I mean, you speak about your dad quite a lot, and your mom.
Yes, my mom has been a huge influence and a huge help over the years. If I was struggling in any way, shape or form, she would make sure that she'd give 100% to make sure that I'm getting to the events, or I'm getting the help I need, or getting overseas, or whatever. Both my parents have played a huge role in my career, and not only just them. A lot of my family members as well, my uncles, they made sure, hey, if I ever needed help or I was struggling in certain areas, they're like, cool. So my whole family has been a huge push in the development of my career, and I'm extremely appreciative of that.
And tell me, none of them, when you started doing this, had like a fear of sort of like, something happening to your body? Because I mean, this is quite an extreme sport. I mean, imagine having a bike in the air and having to detach from it and touch it and come back to it. It's like, it's quite scary, I mean, I can imagine obviously having to like maybe play a contact sport, but this one is like it's a bit different.
Yeah, it's a bit different for us, because when you slam on the ground, you're falling from 10 meters high, So like over the years, unfortunately, there has been a lot of injuries that I've dealt with, but it's not just from the freestyle side. I've got injuries from outriding, motocross. It's kind of just part of the sport. But growing up, some of my grandparents were like, "Oh, what are you going to do? Like, this, when you're going to get a real job?" And I'm like, "Hey guys, like, I'm going professional in this freestyle motocross journey of mine, and from achieving that, I've been able to make a living. So this is what I do full time." And in the beginning, some of my family members didn't really see that, because they were like, "Oh, I need to get a normal job or whatever, 9 to 5." But at the end of the day, like, I put all my time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into the sport, and I live it day to day. Whether I'm out at the track working on the compound 9 to 5, by myself, or with someone, or with my training partners, putting in that time and effort to make sure that I'm elevating constantly. So, it's been a wild ride, but grateful for the full journey.
But I can imagine, because I think from what I've gathered from our conversations as well, in terms of like getting to prepare for like your rides and your competitions, you spend so much time alone in the compound, and just pretty much preparing the ramps as well. So a lot of things are just very, I can assume that you are very sort of like attached to the process and everything, like physically with everything, just like the bikes only, but even having to go up the ramps and all the type of stuff.
100%. Having our own compound to train at, it requires a lot of maintenance, which is hard labor. You know what I'm saying? So, for me, when I'm out there and I'm working and I'm making sure that the landings are prepped 100% and everything's nice and perfect, when I get to ride that setup and that setup feels amazing, it's like a reward in itself. And then you end up, because you feel good, you end up riding better. So nothing like hard work pays off. I'm sure you understand.
How long does it actually take to like prepare, or like prepare for like the next competition?
It can vary, So I end up traveling a lot for shows and events. And when I'm at those shows and events, I pretty much do like almost a standard routine of mine, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not going to go out there and try something that I haven't done, or I'm not used to doing, or I'm not too comfortable with yet, because I'm trying to put on the best performance possible at that show. But when I do get a gap, and I have a couple of weeks off, I'll make sure I'm at the compound and I'm trying new things, and hopefully I can elevate myself to that next level, so that by the time I get to that competition, I've got something new to show off. It's not always as easy as it seems, especially doing like the backflip tricks and whatnot, because we don't really have a lot of like the foam pit facilities and everything. So like a foam pit is, you can imagine like a 20 meter by 15 meter wide box with a ton of foam in it, and you actually end up jumping into it, so that if something goes wrong, you're not hitting the ground. You have a safety net pretty much. And we don't have many of those in South Africa. There's been one or two over the years that have popped up and perished, but like pretty much all my flip tricks I've had to learn to do it. So it takes a much longer period of time, where a lot of the international riders getting ready for like King of the Whip and whatever, they're spending 3 months of the year in a foam pit, learning new tricks. So it's not the easiest, but you've got to make do with what you got, and that's what I've been doing.
So now, let's hypothetically say that, I have a son.
Yes.
Right. I want my son to get involved in this type of sport, because, he probably saw, you guys probably doing it on TV, like, oh, Dad, this is so cool, I want to get involved in it. So the cost effects of, so let's say I'm trying to, obviously get him in to come and, obviously come to your camp and learn a few things, and the basic stuff. So I have to probably get him a bike.
Of course.
So buy him a bike.
You've got to get all the gear.
The gear, the helmet,
knee pads, boots, pants, shirt, chest protector. It can be quite an expensive investment, in your kid. But once you got all the basic needs, and you hit us up, we are open to helping. We've helped so many riders over the years flourish. It's not the easiest sport to get involved in. But if you have the passion and the consistency of hard work, we take you guys to the next level generally. So, we're open to get a hold of. You can reach out to us online, whether it's our website at jungrashfmx.com or our Instagram at jungrashfmx, Facebook page, whatever. Like it's quite easy to get a hold of us. We try to reply to as many people as possible because we just want to get new blood into the sport. Like I say, I've been involved in the sport since I was 15. I'm 32 now. So it's a long time, and I'm pretty much like one of the last riders of that generation still standing.
Sure.
And we thrive on getting new blood in so that we can keep the next generation going. Keep freestyle alive in South Africa.
That's great, man. So it's sort of like so if I can compare to any other sport in terms of like its uniqueness, and sort of like a Formula One. So you're trying to get into like Formula One, because I've always wondered, like, how do because in soccer, like in rugby, cricket, it's like I think, okay, cool. It's not like a school phase, it's probably, I have to just probably get some boots or like the bat. Do you know what I mean? Like, how to sort of like try and get into the sport. There's like a foundation phase, like from high school and whatever, and then you go to different levels.
Of course.
But like with these kind of sports, it's kind of like a thing of, hey, you sort of like need to know it, have a love and passion for it, and if possible, get like a bike or like a motor car or something like that. It's like one of those unique sports. It's really crazy because as I said, we're not really familiar with this kinds of sports. And I think I appreciate the work that you guys are doing, with also like your open days and doing different events in and around South Africa, because then it helps to get the sport exposed
100%,
to people. So outside this event that you guys are having on the 20th of September, which other events are you guys having around the country?
So we just finished up at Swazi Rally this past weekend. So we went out there. I think they had like 10,000 people at the event. We had a lot of them up at the stage that we were performing at. So that ends up being 4,000-5,000 people watching us, going absolutely crazy. Next up, we're going to Mafeking for another rally. Actually, that'll be on the 4th of October. On the 11th of October, we're heading to a place called Orania. So that should be quite an interesting one. And then we got 1 or 2 inquiries following that. And then pretty much I got a little bit of a break to get ready for King of the Whip. So that is probably South Africa's premier event at the moment, and that's, like I said, they bring in the international athletes to compete. So, I like to take a couple of weeks or a month or whatever just to lock in focus and like just get really polished up for that event.
So you said that King of the Whip is happening in November,
29th of November, Monte Casino. The layout is insane. Crazy backdrop there at Monty, and there's fireworks and everything that's going off, flame shooting out, as we're going through. So, it's an awesome event. It's been sold out the last multiple years in a row, and I encourage everyone who wants to see a top class freestyle motocross production to come through and watch us compete.
No, definitely, I'll definitely be there. And then tell me, throughout your career, because you said you started this thing when you were 15, what has been, or what can you describe a time where, because you know in our professional lives in this sports world, you probably have like a time was like, you know, a pretty dark one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe through his injury or just time where just like probably just like you're not really getting to that place where you actually want to be.
Yes.
Like what could you describe like your toughest time or your darkest time in the sport?
So I think when I was 17, I tried to do my first backflip.
Yeah.
And I completed the rotation, but I ended up, instead of landing straight, I landed a bit skew, and I ended up high siding, and I, you know, bounced off the dirt. And at that time, I think, you know, I broke my collarbone, fractured my hip and pelvis, broke 5 ribs, and you know, I ended up recovering, you know, 4 or 5 months later, but coming back and like going through the mental space of, I need to now attempt this again. That was one of the toughest moments in my career, because I didn't end up doing it for a couple of years after that, you know. And like I said, back then we had a foam pit that was kind of available, and you know, the comeback took so long that, you know, by the time I was getting back to the foam pit, you know, I was having some issues, and then the foam pit got taken down, and eventually I think, you know, I ended up traveling overseas halfway through my 20s, and I was just like, man, I need to do this now. Like, you know, it's been haunting me for like 6-7 years now. I was like, if I don't get this done on this trip, like, you know, I'm gonna hang the boots up and I'm gonna call it a day, and then, you know, go find a normal job. And yeah, I was able to, you know, max out my credit card, fly to Australia, and get the job done. And then I came home and started flipping consistently, and within a few months I started learning some backflip tricks, you know, taking hands off, like little things. And yeah, ever since then it's just propelled me to where I am today.
So then tell me, then your creativity in the air, that's what probably like gains you points in terms of, so you guys have judges.
Yes, at the freestyle comp events, then we'll have judges, and that they'll like you know, point you on your style, like how extended was the trick, was he like straight up and down, was he looking back, like was the trick looking perfect, or was it a little bit of ruts, not a bit sketchy looking, you know what I'm saying? So obviously you want to do the trick as big as possible, as smooth as possible, and as stylish as possible, and then that's how they kind of work it out here, you know. There's a couple other factors to it, but to put it shortly.
And then I know I've asked you about your toughest time in the sport, but what has been like your probably have had many, but like your number one most memorable one?
So before I traveled to Australia, I actually flipped to dirt a few times before that. I traveled to America, and I ended up riding very, very well-known freestyle motocross rider. His name's Robbie Madison, and he's got one of the biggest accolades on the planet for the sport that we do. And I ended up at his house, and he kind of took me under his wing, and I was like, hey man, you know, I haven't flipped since I was 17. I think I was 19 or 21 or something at the time. I was like, I really want to get it done. And you know, he took me under his wing. He had a foam pit there, spun a few foam pits, flips into the foam pit over a day or two, and then I took it to dirt, and I ended up spinning 12 flips to dirt. But on one of my last flips, I pulled quite hard on the flip, and I actually ripped my shoulder out. And after that, unfortunately, I was off the bike for another 9 months. So ended up coming home, and you know, again, 9 months off the bike, you come back from an injury that long, you're not feeling as comfortable. And then I went through that whole motion again of going into that dark time of like, no, I'm too scared to you know, pull and try flip to do it again. And then obviously I didn't flip for many years until I, you know, I was like 25 or 4 or something. And then that's when I was like, cool, I need to get to my mate Braden Davies' place in Australia. I need to go do this now. Otherwise, like I said, I was going to hang the boots up. So, I was able to, you know, just get my mind clear and focused and go there and get the job done. And ever since then, I've just been pretty active with it, you know. I'll tell you what, another big challenge I had is when COVID hit, right?
Oh, everyone was challenged at that time.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, we couldn't leave the house for 3 months or whatever, things were getting tough. I ended up getting a shoulder surgery during that time. And
During COVID?
Yeah.
How did that happen? Were they able
So
to get you to the hospitals and stuff?
Yeah, so I had a previous injury where I had fractured my scapula over the years, and I had like a funny bone growth, and that was actually sliding over my ribs and like cutting into my muscles. So I had to just get that shaved down and cleaned up, and I got that done. I didn't ride for like a year and a half. Obviously, from 2020 to the end of 2022, there was no shows and events, and that's pretty much how I was earning my living. Is riding these different shows and events. So, one of the travel agents found a little gap for me, and they flew me out, or I was able to get an opportunity to get to the US. So they made a travel plan for me, and I got to the US after not riding for a year and a half. And I had to go through that whole motion again. But luckily, like, I had that confidence within me. And, not riding for a year and a half. I think it was my second or third day, I flipped to dirt again. And ever since then, I've just been on a mission, man. I've just been on a mission. And I built up a lot of riders beneath me. As you know, I got a team. I got a team of 5 or 6 riders. My goal is I don't only just want to elevate myself. I want to make sure I can build them up to be the next big thing as well. So when they start challenging me for my position, I'm going to be happy about it, because I'm going to have to push a bit harder.
No, that's pretty great, bro. That's really massive. And like, I mean, as I said, this is very fascinating for me. So this is like a world that I'm still gonna get to really just learn more about. Because you also invited me in some of these events that you guys have. Because I told you, like, this is just something I probably see on TV, and in movies. Actually, you know what I mean? Like, it's like flipping bikes, all the type of stuff. It's a new world for me, and I'm sure as I get to journey through this as well, just making other people also more aware of it. Listen, I think one of the most interesting questions that I wanted to ask you was, so then, because I can see how really passionate about this sport you've been. Like, when you just take me through that moment when you're like on your bike and you're just literally about to actually, take off. Like, what goes through your head, like the steps, like that you have to sort of like go through. Okay, listen, let me hold it like this. I need it at this pace. Like, what are the technical stuff that you actually really go through in that moment?
So when we get to different shows and events that we're riding at, we have our own mobile setup. So we'll get there and we'll set everything up. We'll measure everything out pretty much perfect to the T. Obviously, different areas you're dealing with, like different terrain or different levels. So, there's always something a little different to deal with. But when I'm there and I've set everything up and I've measured everything right, we jump a 23-meter gap to this point. Okay, cool. I pretty much know, like, my run-up will start here, and then before I get to the ramp, I'll measure like 20 meters. And once everything's set up and I'm gearing up, I honestly try not to think about anything. I just keep my mind clear-headed. We have a chat and just keep everything relaxed, because the last thing you want to do is work yourself up or build up to this big moment. So I just try to keep it out of my head completely. I'll get on the motorcycle. Once I've paced my run-up, I pretty much take a few run-ups, maybe 1 or 2 at the ramp, and I'm like, okay, that feels good. And then, I'll do 1 or maybe 2 run-ups, and then I'm like, either number 2 or 3, I'm just going to hit it. So get locked in, feeling the run-up, making sure like you say, my pace at the ramp is right. And then I'm like, cool, well, you've done this 1,000 times or whatever, 100,000 times before. Now you got to go do it again, and we just send it. So
you are extreme. I promise you. I think it's something that's probably maybe I just have to go and try out as well and see if I can flip a bike or 2. But tell me also, we were having a conversation before we actually came here and have a sit down. You said your wife was also in the EFC.
Yeah. So she made her debut at the EFC Contender Series, like I think a month or so ago. And she's fought a bit of Muay Thai over the years, and she's done some jiu-jitsu comps, and she's been training to get an MMA debut. She had some shoulder issues that she was dealing with a couple of years ago, so she never made that MMA debut. And we got her up at CRT gym under Stefan Dellaray, and she's been training her little butt off, and she made her debut. It was a wild one. Obviously I was in her corner for the fight, and she got badly split open under her eye in the first round, and there was blood everywhere. And she put her head down and walked forward and fought like an absolute animal. And 3 rounds in, she ended up getting the rear naked choke finish. So definitely a proud moment for all of us. She's a little warrior, man. I love her.
That's crazy. So how does it feel when you actually watch her fight? Like, because you mentioned that she got a bit of a, you know what I mean? Like, and I can imagine as a husband, you're probably overly protective. How does it feel when you actually watch her in the cage?
So some of the Muay Thai fights, it wasn't that bad compared to the MMA fight, because you got bigger gloves. In the MMA, you got them small 8 ounces or whatever they are, and. I mean, everything was going fine, but when I saw us get split open, I was just like, oh my goodness, that's not a nice sight, Obviously, I get these emotions running through, but at the end of the day, I'm a professional athlete, and I know how to handle under pressure. So I just keep calm, cool, and collective, and I let her do her thing, When she eventually finishes the round and gets into the corner, I tell her, hey, got to work on this or that, or, keep your defense a bit better. You got this. We all believe in you, and go out there and show the world. And at the end of the day, that's what she did. So.
That's massive, and it's just like, so how did you guys meet? Did you guys meet when you were also on the ramp, or just like a thing of just bumped into each other?
Yeah,
like
we met at a restaurant. Funny enough, and I was like, hey, let's get a coffee. And it kind of just snowballed from there. Once I found out, okay, cool, she's into the MMA scene, I'm like, oh, me too. I train a bit too, but this is what I actually do full time. And I feel like, our passions complemented each other. And with her, trying to grow into the sport, I was like, cool, well, let me give you a helping hand from a professional athlete's outlook. And when I got these shows and events coming up, she does as much as she can to make sure that I'm prepped and ready, and vice versa.
Vice versa,
So we actually have a 3.5-year-old daughter now.
Come on,
And this last fight camp, getting ready to fight at the EFC, she was training hard. So like, I'm cool. I'm up early in the morning. I'm getting our little one ready, dressed, get her to school. She goes and she trains early morning. Comes back home during the day, then she'll go train again in the evenings. And I just make sure, listen, you do whatever you need to do. Okay.
I got your back.
You put your 100% in. I'm gonna put mine, into the family. And everything's just been working out so nice and smooth. I mean, she supports me 100%. I support her 100%, and there's nothing more you can really ask for.
That's really massive. I think. Like ever since you started speaking, I've just been greatly inspired by your passion and drive. And I think, us athletes always like relate on, how passionate we are about like our crafts. You know what I mean? Like, it's very difficult for people to also understand our love and passion for what we do. Do you know what I mean? It's not even about the money. You think about all the even though you're like, I have to take care of myself and the family, but the passion runs deeper,
much deeper.
And with your work and what you do, man, like I really have to applaud you for being there, just also raising our flag up high, because you've been at this for quite some time and constantly being at the top. But then what does it really take out of you to actually make sure that you're constantly just there?
Man, the dedication you have to put in is never ending. You have to be pretty much at it every day if you can, you know what I mean? Like, if you would wake up you need to get to the gym, you need to do your stretches, you need to make sure your body's loose. And then as often as you can, when I was a little bit younger, I had access to ride every day. So I'd be like, cool, I'd have a routine where I'd get up, go to the gym, do my stretches, get ready, make sure I got the right foods in me, get to the track, put in a couple of hours, get home and try to relax and let my body recover so I could repeat that the next day. Now it's a little bit harder for me because I only get to ride, max maybe 3 times a week. So on the other days, obviously I'm looking after my family. I'm in the gym every day. I'm making sure my body's up to date with everything it needs to be, because over the years, you get injuries and you have to work around something. So, whether it's physio or whatever it is that needs to happen, I'm making sure I'm on top of my game the whole time so that when it comes to the show, when it comes to the competition, like I can perform at my peak.
No, man, I'm really, really inspired a lot, especially, how you and your wife support each other. I think that's one of the most other important things in an athlete's life, that support. Because sometimes you probably do it on your own, because you say, because that love, the dedication for the sport runs deeper. Man, was really great having you here.
I appreciate your time.
Just do me one favor, right? So into your camera over there, just to someone that is, probably out there, looking for like a dark place, in a place where they just really want to go and achieve their dreams, just like having a really tough time. What's your words of encouragement, to them, and also just to someone that's probably trying to get into this or any type of sport? What mentality that you think they should have? Just some words of encouragement, man, into that camera over there.
Look, I feel like at the end of the day, life is always going to test you to its max ability, and sometimes you might be sitting there and be like, why is this happening to me, like constantly over and over again? And it's about how you handle that situation. You need to just be as positive as possible. So life is always going to try to test you, no matter what, and no matter the situation. So the best way to deal with that is, how can you handle that situation? You need to be as positive as possible, and you just need to put your head down, do the work, and everything else will follow. If you guys or anyone who's in a situation and ever needs some advice or just some extra motivation, you're welcome to reach out to me, man. No matter what athlete you are, I'd love to have a chat with you, and let's see how we can push your career forward. And if there are any riders out there who want to get involved in freestyle and come and join me and on my journey, man, I'd love to have you guys. So I look forward to seeing you there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the king of the whip himself, Dallan Goldman. Okay, so guys, we've wrapped up another episode. Okay, so please do make sure to click that like, share, and subscribe button, okay, before you go anywhere. All right, and also a big shout out to Temple Luxury Restaurant, okay, for always having us on the platform. All right, guys, so another episode we've wrapped up. See you guys on the next one. Let's go.